I mean, it really was a lifesaver. Um, when I transferred to Crossroads in 10th grade, and in ninth grade, I just didn't go to school very much.
And that
Um,
was at U City High?
that I was Hanley, which
Oh,
was the
Hanley.
junior
Okay, that's
high.
right.
Yeah, because U City was weird in many ways, and
Yeah,
one way
yeah,
that they were weird is they had eighth and ninth, the two deepest pits in hell, were put together in the same building, which was
yeah.
Hanley Junior High, and it was just a disaster. Did not, I wasn't learning. My stress level was through the roof. I got there, I made friends very easily, and I quickly started learning, which is not something I had done in school for a long time. We could talk about things that were interesting. And I had a choice as to what classes I was taking, which didn't happen in public school. And maybe it would have happened in 10th grade, I don't know. I had a little bit of choice. Like I know I was allowed to choose whether to take a foreign language and which language to take. But for the most part, there wasn't a lot of choices. But the main difference, I think, is that the teachers were really invested in me and my doing well. And I'm getting all choked up just thinking about it. But I remember once I was taking, it must have been like a algebra class or something with Steve Jonak. And I have terrible math anxiety. Yes, I'm not unusual in that regard. But anyway, I was taking Steve Jonak's class, and he had everybody was just sitting down to, do work on some problems, and he called me up to his desk. And I don't remember if I had just failed a test or if my homework was wrong, but there was something that was made it very clear that I was not grasping the material. And he called me up to his desk to sit with him one-on-one and work on these that I wasn't getting it, and he was going to make an effort. He was going to do everything he could to make sure that I did understand. And I'm not going to be an engineer, but um I passed. That's the goal.
That's, I mean, I don't remember you telling that story before. You might
No,
have,
I don't think I've ever told it to anybody.
but I mean, that is really good to hear. And, I don't know if you took a math class with Diane or not, but I think
I don't think I ever did. I took computers with Diane.
it's computer. But I mean, Diane would have been much the same way in terms of, this is not just about math. It's about you as a human being,
Right.
feeling good
That's
about
right.
yourself.
That's
Not,
right.
yeah,
I well with Diane, I remember I took her computer class and I thought, okay, computers are going to be a thing. I really need to
yeah.
understand computers. I still don't understand computers. Um, and we had a test, I think it was the final, and I did not do well. Um, and she a lot of people didn't do well, but she said, I want you to um ask so and so if you can look at their exam. I don't remember who it was. Um, and so you can see like where you went wrong. Like look at that test. And because you had to like write how you would program the computer to do a certain task. And then I found out that Moritz had also passed. And I said, well, why didn't you ask me to look at Moritz's test? For some reason, I wanted to look at Moritz's test instead. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Maybe his was shorter. And she said, because your logic was more similar to this, and that, I mean, one really important thing I learned at Crossroads was how to have fun without drugs or any kind of, chemicals.
Yeah,
I got really involved in acting.
yeah.
I got involved in the yearbook. I did extracurrics, which at U City I would have been caught dead doing extracurrics. So, yeah, and another thing is that Crossroads, and this has become like my passion in life, is accessibility. Crossroads really made things accessible. They let me know, you know, how to sign up for things and when things would be available and how what are the logistics of getting involved in this and what would happen once I did get involved.
I want to ask you one last question, okay? Um, what happened in this country, if anything, between the time you graduated from high school and the time that Donald Trump became kind of an immovable
Oh
object.
my gosh. You know, I think of something that you used to say all the time, which that your goal was to teach kids the difference between fact and opinion. And every time I hear one of these boneheads spouting off online, I'm like, this kid should have gone, you should have gone to Crossroads because you can't tell the difference between a fact and an opinion.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, so people online will say all kinds of idiocy, and there are other people who just consume it and say, "Oh, this is a fact because I saw some bro say it online in a podcast or whatever." And there's that those critical thinking skills have just they're just not there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I can't really make a lot of comparisons about how Crossroads compares to other schools of that time, but I think it was a lot better. I don't remember the topic of fact versus opinion ever coming up in U City. Now, again, I did not go to high school in U City.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were, maybe their 10th grade was amazing and I just wasn't there for it. I really don't think so.
You're so open-minded. I love it.
I try to give people the benefit of the
Yeah.
doubt, and
Yeah.
sometimes it
Yeah.
gets me in a lot of
Yeah.
trouble.
Uh, that probably saves you a lot of trouble too. It's very nice.
Well, I kind of go through life with the assumption that everybody is doing the best that they can for the most
Yeah.
part, and there are
Yeah.
a couple of really bad actors out there, like Donald Trump. Um, but I think most people are really just trying to do the best that they can. But if you don't even have that basic tool in your tool belt of knowing the difference between fact and opinion, of knowing what a reliable source is, you're at such a tremendous disadvantage. And we see a lot of people out there now who are at a tremendous disadvantage because they don't have those basic tools.
Yeah. Mm. Well, I think that is helpful indeed. I definitely want to share this. And Ellen, let's keep in touch. Let's not have it every 10 years or whatever the hell it's been.
I
Okay.
know, right? It's been a while.
Pretty soon we'll
Um,
run out of runway.
yeah, it's true.
So,
All right. Well, one thing I have to say before I let you go is that I can't have
yeah.
a conversation about Crossroads without mentioning V. Lind, who was
Oh,
so
good. Yeah, go
amazing.
ahead.
She was I just she was just so amazing, and she just really taught me a lot about um how to express myself verbally, which is something that's always come pretty easily to me, but um she just she was really able she just took it to the next level.
Yeah,
Um
she was a gem, and it had to be tough for her too because she was from a different. She was a lot older than most of the other teachers we had,
yes.
different
She was their
background.
mother's age at least.
Yeah, and she was, so remarkable. And yet, I mean, I feel bad because I know that, we didn't do much socially with her, and it would have been nice to have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
she was a guiding light for me.